wherever you are and however you are listening, thank you for being back with us on another episode of Winning the Moment. Today, I have the owner of St. George Med Spa, Talisha Hunt, and she talks about the trials and tribulations of being a business owner. We get into life. We talk about her husband, who was on the episode previous to this one. So if you haven't listened to that, make sure to go back and do that. And what's really exciting is she has a special offer for all of our listeners. You can get a free consultation at St. George Med Spa, and she's going to give you $50 off your first service. You just got to listen to the entire podcast. And so the fireman was working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And a tractor?
Yeah, there's a tractor fire. So when he was too
and it was like so hot that...
that the tire exploded. Yeah. So they do his like flag ceremony today. His funeral will be tomorrow.
So is Brendan there for it?
Uh-huh.
Oh man, that's devastating.
Yeah, he was on like grass fires with him literally like 2 days before, and they spent the night on this grass fire. And
oh my gosh.
I know. Sad, huh? Does it seem close enough?
Yeah, I think you're doing a good job.
I can hear myself.
Yeah. That's really, you'll be able to hear if you pull in or out of it.
Okay.
Are you ready to just get going?
Sure.
Because we're already in it, so that's great.
Okay.
And I'm going to just let that part roll. If you're listening, this is Talisha Hunt. She is the owner of St. George Med Spa, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, here on Bluff Street. And if you listen to the episode before this one, that was her husband, Brendan, who was a firefighter in LA. And sadly, Talicia's just saying that someone had passed away. I kind of wanted to ask you, as the wife of a firefighter, how is that for you?
Yeah. You know, it's so funny. I knew you were going to ask that question, actually. And like going back to like when we started dating, which was a million years ago, he always made this, like later in life, he made this joke, like, you know, when I told girls that I was a fireman, it was like a cool thing, and like they were excited. Like it was like this hot,
because that's like hot profession, right?
Yeah, and that was like not. I was like, cool.
It didn't have that impact on you.
Did not have that impact. And he's like, I just always thought that was so funny with you. But for me, people always ask, like, doesn't that just scare you? He's been a fireman since I met him.
Yeah, like the whole time.
Whole time. Utah is very different. So he was up in North Ogden, which I'm sure he talks about in his podcast, as a captain. And they just don't have that many fires. Like, there's a lot of medical. And so my scare more so is him seeing something really tragic that he can't unsee.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. Like the trauma of seeing terrible things happen.
Like I don't know if he's just kind of a screwy human or what, but he does really well, like mentally.
Compartmentalizes that. Yeah, I guess you'd have to learn that skill, right?
Yes, he really does. So that probably makes me a little bit more nervous than even the fire aspect. But ever since he's been with LA County, it does make me nervous. And when a fireman on his own shift, on his own not only department but station, that happens too. And he I think he had just gotten home, so like he could have absolutely been there. 100% could have been there. So yeah, it does bring that anxiety. I live my life in naive, I guess. Like I try not to worry about it because it's not right in front of me until it is. What am I going to do? You
can't do anything about it anyways. Worrying's not going to help you, right? It's not going to change whatever happens.
And it's what he's doing, and he loves it, and so
that was really clear that he loves it.
Yes, it's great to see. I loved seeing him get his dream of LA County for sure. He always wanted to work at that department, and that it's big, lots of training, does stuff. They just do stuff next level, right?
Yeah.
So
when that happened, when his fireman passed away, did that give you a sense of like, did you feel yourself like feeling like, especially being pregnant, right? Does that change that for you? Obviously, I'm sure your emotions are higher, and
yeah, it just makes you more grateful, a little more gratitude that and
like he's safe.
Yeah, totally. And I think, it just makes you feel way more grateful. You hug a little bit tighter.
Yeah, for sure. And that doesn't have that much longer either before he gets to retire.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what is it? I think, what did he take? 13 years. I think he's going to retire at 20, and he's worked for LA County for 7. So but he's done it since he was 19. I mean, so
yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah.
Okay. So fun story for the listeners. Talicia introduced my wife and I to each other 17 years ago, at a house party. And then I literally never
saw. Is that where we were?
Yeah.
I was like trying to remember, like, where were we? I don't even know.
I live next door to Micah in those townhomes in Hidden Valley.
Okay.
And so we'd hang out at his house,
Yeah. God, that was a million years ago. Yeah. That was a different life.
Oh my gosh. Well, and actually I've known you since you were like 13.
Isn't that sad? Like,
yeah.
Oh my God.
In fact, of everyone on the podcast, I may have known you, other than like my family members, at the youngest age, because I moved here at 15, so most of my friends were that age.
Okay.
So I may have known you for the longest part of your life.
Yeah.
Since you were like 13 or...
I know. And what was I doing? Like, how old are you?
Well, I'm 37 now.
Okay. So we weren't, and I'm 34. So it was 3, but
That's
like...
not bad.
Yeah, no.
Seems worse when you're like 12
right,
than
but
when
like,
you're 37 and 34.
I know, but like, that's why because I'm like, what is this 13, 14-year-old?
It's because you were dating Clint.
I know.
And he used to always say, like, I dated a 12-year-old. That was like his thing.
He had
remember?
to like make fun of himself, so it wasn't so bad.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I know, but like, don't ever do that, girls. Never let your daughters do that.
I don't think we have a lot of 12-year-olds listening, but if you are, don't
let your daughters do it. Okay?
So it's really quite crazy when you think about that. Like 12 years old. I mean, Olivia's 10.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't 12. I was 14, but
maybe
still. Yes, I was 14.
No, you might have been because I was 15.
I was 14, I'm sure. More than sure. I'm more than sure.
Either way, long time. And then when you introduced Megan, I remember because we were sitting in Micah's living room and you were like, oh, you guys are perfect for each other because you're like the dad of the group and Megan's like the mom of the group.
Megan, yeah.
And then we didn't see each other again after that for 17 years.
Yep.
And then we were in Mexico, in Cancun on spring break at one of those, they like set up all those trinkets and stuff, local vendors around the pool. And someone says, Megan, and it's you with your child we've never met and your husband I've never met. Yeah. And then we went and had dinner together that night and then hung out the rest of the trip.
The rest of the trip, yeah. That was so fun. That was one of my favorite vacations.
Oh, it made the trip so fun. We went and did that silent disco and like it just really ended up being such a great time. And that's a property I'd love to go back to.
Me too.
But it's so much more expensive now.
Is it?
It's like outrageous because when we went,
new, right?
brand new. Yeah. So like we got it right at the right time. Now it's outrageous. Like a week there now is probably over 10 grand. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth that.
No, it's of course not. Well, it's also inflation, right?
Yeah,
everything's more expensive.
Beach, like there wasn't really one, right? Like,
yeah, that's
I
true.
didn't love that part of it, but in terms of the resort, it was great.
Yeah, when I go to an ocean beach resort, I want the beach.
Mm-hmm.
We're going. And we're going in November back to Cancun, and we found a resort that's got an awesome beach, and they like clean it up every morning because sometimes the beaches can have like that seaweed and it's kind of nasty.
For sure,
you don't even want to go in it.
Yeah. So
that's good. Okay, so let's talk. I'm really curious to hear your story about being a business owner and the trials and tribulations of that because you're able to work with your stepmom for a long time, right? So you had a partner,
yes,
and now you're going it solo.
My little sister Bella has also became a little part owner. Yeah, so
good for her.
But I would love to tell that story.
Okay, so how long have you, because you're an esthetician, correct? Mm-hmm. So how long have you been doing that, and what made you want to jump into being an owner?
Yeah, so I've been an esthetician for 15 years. So I went right out of high school. Yep, went to aesthetic school. I've loved it. Back when I went, no one knew what an esthetician was.
That's probably true.
It was like, anesthesiologist, I'm on the little different. Like no one knew the word, esthetician. And now, so I'm very, very blessed that it's boomed the way it has. I'm just riding that train for sure. Med spas are huge. Estheticians in general are huge.
Why do you think that is?
People love what they look like.
Looking good.
Yeah, we all want to age gracefully. Yeah. So everyone's trying to age gracefully.
Megan bought one of those red light masks.
Yeah.
I wear that bitch every night.
I know. Good for you. Good for you. I know. And like the ones where you can actually do anything else, those ones work because if you have to like sit there and you can't do anything, you can't, it's hard.
Well, I like to do it right before bed.
And just like
and it's like, it kind of puts me to sleep because I'm just sitting there in silence for the 15 minutes that I do it or whatever. In fact, I never even... I never wash my face outside of like the shower, right? Just with like water. Mm-hmm. And then just recently it's like, shit, I'm getting old, you know? So now Megan puts like this like peach oil on my face. Then she has this little cupping thing. It's like I cup my face and then I wear the red light.
I love all the natural stuff like that. And I totally think it matters. Like massage, like moving the muscles up, all of that really matters.
Okay, so not to get us off track. So 15 years ago, you get into it, not as big. Now it's booming.
Yep. So I've done the day spa thing, a booth rented. I've taught aesthetics in my career. And then I was working for a lady out in the building that we're in. She had a med spa and I was working for her.
Did your dad own that building?
My dad owns that building.
That's right.
Correct.
So I met your dad. This is funny because it used to be Cell 1 was in that, right? And then so I worked there.
Oh, okay.
And I remember he came in like to get like a new phone or something. I was like, oh, you can't. He's like, I own the building. And I was like... I was like, I don't know that matters. That's like,
I got credit here.
Yeah.
He has credit everywhere. He used to own that gas station there, Miramonte,
yes,
and like in the cell, he's like, just credit, so he's like, fill up your tank, like, because he has so much credit there, beer, gas, everything.
And I think he also said he owned the land where one of the towers were or something like that. And he was like, I own one of the towers and I own the building. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is,
Oh, Joseph, I love him. But yeah, so he owns that building. So in that building, the day spa is there.
Yeah.
So my stepmom owned the day spa for a few years.
How long was that there for?
I think I don't.
Oh, it was Gold's Gym at one point.
It was, yeah. I know. It's been a lot of things.
Holy shit, that's crazy to think.
Yeah.
What a weird place for a gym.
It's been through a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I honestly don't know how long the day spa has been around, but Cindy had owned it. My stepmom had owned it for like 8 years, probably. I don't know. Time is weird. Time is weird. And so when I was working for a med spa that was renting from my dad there, she was moving to a different lease. And so in that, my stepmom Cindy came to me and was like, hey, do you want to open a med spa together? Because I love the synergy between the day and the med spa. I don't want to lose that with her leaving. And I think let's capitalize on this. Let's open a med spa. You would do great. I'm like the business her is the business mind, me esthetician mind. So 6 years ago, probably we started that whole venture. So we've been open for 5 years now, but yeah. So
how do you like business ownership?
I don't want to sound not grateful. So at first I technically, like legally, probably wasn't the owner when we first opened, right? Yeah. She was the owner. And then for anyone that doesn't know, which most people don't know, she had bone cancer. So a million years ago, like 10, 14 years ago, she had breast cancer. Ended up getting rid of it. All was good. And it came back as bone cancer. And so, honestly, right when we were about to open is when she found out that it had came back.
Oh, no.
And she was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like her stress, because they were like, you have 6, I think they told her 6 months or some shit.
So they gave her like a terminal diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. And so I was just like, we had bought lasers. We were in it. Like we were opening, Yeah. So we got through it and it was good and, all was well. But I would have never taken that leap without her to open a med spa. Never. Like,
was she, so obviously she just recently passed away, right? So she made it lived way past the initial diagnosis. Correct. So did she participate in running it with you then for that time? Okay, so she did. So she was able to work through it and be able to help support that.
It's been probably the last 2 years that really she didn't do much, right? Yeah. So, and she didn't really want to. She focused a lot on she did things really naturally, like went to like both conventional and natural, but went to highfalutin places that helped her, and that's kind of how she lived. Is she did.
If I knew that my time was finite, I wouldn't want to be working.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then, as a business owner, like, the things that you learn, the things that you don't like when you're an employee, there's some things that you never are cognizant of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so what were some of the biggest lessons you learned as a business owner?
That nothing is certain. No employee is certain.
Yeah.
Relationships mean the very most.
Yeah.
And I think if you cultivate those relationships with both employees and clients, your business is bound to grow.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, no, it is so relationship driven,
it
right?
Really is. And especially with what we do. I mean, it's very intimate what we're doing. People come in very insecure and tell you what is making them not feel good, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's vulnerable. So
what's your favorite thing to do to like a client? Like what procedure do you enjoy the most?
Yeah. So I really only run our BBL and Moxi laser. It's a Cyton laser. So
that is the weirdest shit.
What?
Like you just run a laser.
Yeah.
Like
I work on a laser. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, so that's definitely my favorite.
So what do you do with that?
Yeah. So BBL everyone's always like, BBL, like not.
Yeah. I actually was looking at your Instagram and I saw a BBL and Moxi thing.
Yeah. People are like, I'm like, not Brazilian butt lift. Very different. So BBL stands for broadband light.
Okay.
Most people have heard of IPL, intense pulse light. Same idea. So it's a light device that is attracted to like melanin and vascularity in the skin.
Okay.
So it goes to different wavelengths. that's targeting those parts in your skin. So,
so what are you getting rid of with that?
So pigmentation, like sun damage, like any vessels, like if you have rosacea, like redness of the skin, it helps that a whole bunch.
I got a little rosacea.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, like I'll get it like right here sometimes and my forehead. Okay. When I had my Corvette, I drove around with the roof off too much without a hat on.
Gotcha.
And like didn't realize like how much sun exposure is giving my forehead,
Sure.
you know?
Yeah,
So I have to like really watch it.
Yeah. So it does those, which IPL does that too. So why BBL is a little better is it can actually change the genetic expression of your skin. So the light, I like to think of like light on plants, like photosynthesis. Okay. So it's just feeding your skin with light that actually changes that genetic expression. So it makes your skin cells act like they were when they were younger. Routine. So, so like my treatment plan is usually like, it depends on the severity of what we're trying to work on. If you have, if you have great skin, maybe it's 1 or 2 1 month apart, and then every season change. So like
is it mostly just your face?
No, you can do it anywhere on the body, which is lovely.
But where do people usually get it done at?
Face, and we always include the neck at our med spa. So face and neck is really what I do mostly, but then anything else is kind of add on.
Do you do it to yourself?
I used to. I'm sad. Like I'm pregnant, so you know. Can't. Yeah, I can't do anything. I'm like, oh.
What's it cost to get a BBL?
We do a membership, but it's about $500
each time. Yep. If I did one BBL, would I look younger? Do you think?
So like you have great skin. It's very luminous. Like you have great skin. So it would be like keeping up on it. Now, if someone comes in with a lot of pigment, that change is way more dramatic than I would see on you. You would have to really just like understand the science behind what you're doing and but your skin would definitely look more luminous and things like that. Like there would be changes, especially pictures. Pictures are like, if you don't,
that's where you can see it.
If you don't take pictures, it's silly.
It's interesting because like when I was younger, I wanted to look older.
I know. Now, I know.
And now I'm getting older. It's like my hair is gray and shit. It's like, oh God. So I had one guest, Eric Gubler. Shout out Eric Gubler. Comes over. I guess, oh shit, dude, your hair's really gray. It's like, thanks.
Hey, you know what? Men are lucky.
We are lucky.
They can pull off gray. Like women have a harder time pulling that off. Right?
I don't know. Some women who rock it and like just do it, it can look pretty good too.
Yeah, I think it's all in how you feel good.
What's funny is I was just talking to Thomas yesterday. You remember Thomas Kuhn?
Yeah.
So I was just talking to him yesterday about, I don't know why we're talking about grandmas, but somehow we're on the subject of grandmas. And we were saying like, we don't have grandmas like when I was a kid. Like I had a white haired, permed out grandma, you know? Like in like a, grandma clothing. I don't know what you call that now. She bought at Sears, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't see those grandmas anymore. No. They just don't, because of like St. George Med Spa.
I know. It's like, really true. Like aging, and I don't think it's bad. I think sometimes med spas gets bad raps, overdone, overfilled, because we do injectables as well, right?
Oh,
so, like,
do the lip game.
Yeah, and I totally can appreciate that some people take it too far, but there's so much that you can do now that's just regenerative.
The ones who do.
I know, and it has to do with them. It has to do with the way an injector is placing product too in the skin. Like you need, I'm not an injector, so I don't even want to touch on that, but that's really what it comes down to, is the injector not being honest with you of like, hey, we've taken this too far. It used to be that all we had was filler. So you're just like fill, right? Now there's Sculptra, which is beautiful, and it rebuilds your own bone. It rebuilds your own collagen elastin. So you can build upon that to where the results are in the future.
Can I make my jawline better?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's a big thing with men right now too.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, it's like chiseled. Yep.
Yeah,
yep.
how do I do that?
Filler usually, or Sculptra, or one of those things. I know, come on in.
Damn, I want to get that jawline.
I know,
going,
I want to get you in there, because Megan came once and she's like, oh, I probably shouldn't. I'm like, let's get your husband hooked on it.
I'm pretty sure I remember, because you had like a party or something in Champaign, and she was like, oh, I spent a lot of money.
No, and like what I like to pick on is the younger, and I mean like 20s, 30s, like start now, people. Like start now, because when you have the problem when you're 50, 60,
it's too late.
There's a lot. It's not too late, but it takes a lot more money and a lot more time to correct those things that are bothering you, rather than like just kind of growing up doing less things more often, right? And kind of like building upon that foundation and getting that.
That's what got me to finally start doing it, is just realizing like, oh, my runway's shorter, like you always think when you're younger, like, oh, I got time, forever. I'll do it, and same with like even exercise. It's like, I don't really care so much about being ultra fit now, because I just don't need that in my life, but I do care, because if I don't do it now, and then I'm 60, it'll be
harder.
so much harder
Totally.
to be able, and I want to have a longer, healthier life, you know?
It's a good thing to compare to, you know, like aging gracefully, same as like in the gym, right?
Yeah.
So you could go really hard for this time being. Yeah, it's just kind of the same way to
That's how
think about
Thomas and I were talking about old people, because we were at the gym and we were saying how when Cash is 18, I'm only going to be, I'm 10 years old. No. The 10 years now, I'll be 47. So I was like, I'll be like 50, you know, which is great.
It's young.
Because that's, super young.
Yeah.
Like I've got a good 15 years of like travel and fun while I'm still young and capable.
Yeah.
And that's how we were saying like 65 now used to be like 55.
I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. Like we're getting unhealthy, like food wise, like I feel like disease wise and all that, we're getting unhealthier. But in terms of like how we look is
Or vibrancy.
Yeah. It's kind of that.
Well, and I think that the people who do look good longer aren't taking those shitty foods, or they're more food conscious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not eating all the shit that's out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so I can change my jawline.
I know you can change it. It's really.
I would have
great.
never
I know.
thought that.
And Brendan would never want me to say this, but yeah, he's a Botoxer for sure. And
I think he did say that.
And I love it, and I think it's great. And
what are men doing it for? Wrinkles still?
Wrinkles. But a lot of men will chins. Like, you know, if you don't have like a prominent chin, you can build a chin, a jaw.
Does Botox do that?
No, fillers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Megan's done. I'm just outing her, I guess. But she's done.
No.
She's done her Botox, and she just cannot she'll be like, yeah, no, I'm done doing it, and then 3 months later she's like, I think
I miss
she's
it.
like, what do you think? I was like, I don't give a shit, honestly. Like, I just want you to stop talking about it.
Yeah,
Just do it or
just
don't.
do it,
You know,
yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me.
It can be really preventative with aging. If you can't move that muscle quite as much, you can't make that wrinkle as easily, right? People again can overdo it, and I understand that, and I'm very sensitive to that but if there's just a point where you can feel good about these little things that you're doing that make you just feel a little bit better.
Well, and I think for her, she went to all these different places because different friends have one or whatever, you know, or a pop-up. And so I think she's had experiences where she didn't like it, and then she's had experiences where she's loved it. And
it's an art.
It's probably on her for not just finding that one person she really liked and just only doing that person, because then she gets all these different results, and then there's times she hates it.
Totally. And you know, it's not permanent. It's, you know, you're looking at 2 to 3 months of hate, you know, so you want to get it every 3 to 4 months. Botox.
Is that why you do
Botox.
Memberships?
Yeah, or membership,
just to make it more feasible.
It's budget friendly, right? Because
I think Megan did that with you, actually.
Yeah. So it's we have 2 different ones. So there's 99 and 149, but just for ease, 99 comes out on the same day of every month, and it just goes into we call it Bank Your Beauty. So it's like your savings account with us. So when you come in, if you haven't been in for 3 months, then you just pull that $300 to pay for whatever you're trying to pay for. So if you owe more or you owe less, whatever, and then you get discounts.
If you got $1,000 procedure, it's that's a big hit. But if you're just planning for it,
there's people all the time when they come in, we're like, hey, your membership took care of it today, and just it's free money.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
What else can I get? So it's great.
I was saying that some the other day because we're going on that trip in November, and I'm like, well, I paid for it so long ago that by the time I go on the vacation, I'm like, it's free.
It's free. I know, free vacation. I know, totally. Yeah, no, memberships are where it's at. Packages are cool too. They're just a little bit harder because it's so much money up front. So that's why at our med spa, we've chosen memberships over having to buy three lasers at a time, right?
Sure.
It's just
and also for you guys from a business standpoint, it allows you to have that residual income.
Correct.
Right? So you're always versus those big peaks and valleys of if you have a big event or big purchase, things like that.
Yeah, because summer always slows down.
Really? Because people are gone or what?
They're gone. Moms don't have schedules, I swear. It's hot. People are leaving St. George because it's so freaking hot. And you can't really be in the sun for a lot of the stuff that you do.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. And so is July, August your worst time of year?
Yeah. June usually is where it starts, and I'm very happy to say that with some strategy, we actually had a great month. We ended it, and it's been good.
So who manages, so when you talk about strategy for your business and managing, projecting finances, all that, is that all on your shoulders, or do you have
now? Yeah. So losing Cindy, so she passed away in February. It was expected, but kind of unexpected all at the same time.
Because you knew at some point she was
right.
She's going to pass.
And she scared us so many times and pulled out of it. She's a mother freaking rock star. It was nuts. And so It's good. My personality is it's kind of good because it just pushed me into it. I have no choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what business ownership is. You know what I mean?
FAFO is what I say. Fuck around and find out, But anyway, yes, I deal with all the finances now. I have hired a company that helps me with that, like the stuff that I don't like to do.
Yeah.
But in terms of like specials and strategy, I used to run it. I used to be the med spa director. In January of this year, I gave that hat away to Amanda, who's awesome. So she's my med spa director now, so that I can focus on being an esthetician and an owner. Which is, I was wearing too many hats.
Yeah, focus on the business instead of being in the business.
Totally. Yes, I love that.
That's a hard thing to do.
It is. It's still a learning curve for me.
Well, and also delegating, right? Like having the trust. Amanda was her name. Having the trust to give that up when like you held it.
And she's just good. She's good at like scripts and just logistics that I just don't. I don't know. That's like
scripts, like prescriptions.
No, like scripts, like for like the front desk to use.
Oh, I got you.
And like yearly reviews, and like I just want to like talk to someone when I want to talk to them. Like I'm not very organized like that. Yeah,
okay.
She's very much more organized than I am in that realm.
Yeah, we just had yesterday. So we do EOS for our company Vibrant, but then I also work at the tech company, and we just had our quarterly review where it's like we bring in all the leadership, we review the past quarter, we look at the goals we set, what percentage of those did we accomplish, why did or we didn't we, and then we set all of the financial projections and we'll call them rocks, like 90-day targets.
Okay.
And it's so important to take that 8 hours out of your week or your month and really work on the business, because it's so easy to get just in the rat race of the comings and goings of business,
Totally. And I think like for me, I focus on the money because you need the money coming in to be able to run the business.
Yeah.
And it's nice to take a step back and more so focus on the people in the business a little bit, and I've seen where I've done that, it's changed to where it translates into money,
Yeah, for sure.
And being able to keep going. So
it's so interesting too, how mentally you have to be open to it, right? Like you've got to allow it to happen. Like I had at Vibrant, we just had a client who canceled, and it's a small percentage of our overall revenue, but I still just felt like, fuck,
I know.
And it's like, even though it really doesn't change anything, it's still like just,
it's an ego thing though too. Like, why did you?
Yeah, it just sat with me, and it wasn't a healthy response to it, because I know logically like that doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But but I was like, I can't let those negative thoughts creep in, because then that's going to fester into other places,
so true.
And it's such a mind fuck.
It really is. I totally know exactly what you're saying when you do that, when you say that, because if you bring in those negative, it just seems like it ripples negative throughout the whole thing, and it has been a difficult year with Cindy passing away. It's like, because Bella, who's so I have like a Brady Bunch family. It took Brendan like a whole 6 months to like diagram it, I swear. Like I'm actually
he's got the yarn out.
Yeah, I'm actually an only child, which a lot of people are like shocked to hear that, but I am, biologically an only child, and then there's lots of Brady Bunch.
All the others,
but Bella is Cindy's daughter.
Oh, okay.
And so it's been a hard year for she lost her mom at a really
And how old is Bella?
26.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she does like all of our marketing, social, brand stuff. She's kind of a figure, she's just young and hip and does a great job at it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so like it was a little bit negative there for a minute, and I felt that. I felt it felt to go to
couldn't
our
imagine.
team,
yeah.
And that's just life. I can't be like mad at myself for anything that felt stressful, which that's the hard part. It was stressful, so then it turned negative, and now we're getting on the up and up. I feel a lot better about it.
And so she has some ownership responsibility now with it.
Yeah. And more so like just how Cindy kind of put it there before she, kind of finalized that.
Yeah, got everything prepared, knowing what was going to happen.
Yeah, totally.
Do you think that you're an entrepreneur because of like your dad was such an entrepreneur?
I wish I was more like him. I would have never put myself as an entrepreneur ever. Like I just wouldn't. But
could you see yourself going back now and not being one though?
No, I love, even though it comes with a lot of hardships, I've loved being pushed into owning a business. It
affords you so many luxuries, right? Totally. Like just the autonomy of your life.
Totally. Like having a baby, like people are like, oh, when are you going to, when are you going to end? Or when are you going to come back? And it's like, thank God I don't have to tell anyone that.
Yeah, or ask for permission to be like, do you mind if I take a couple weeks?
Totally,
you know, you just got to strategically plan to make sure it's covered.
Yeah, but like it's not. Yeah, it's just very different. It's very it's hard, but that part's easier.
Well, and there's so many advantages of it too, right? Like just even from like a tax standpoint of the things that you can write off and spend money on that you would otherwise have to have after tax income to do.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're in a 30% tax bracket, then you're really saving 30% on those purchases because it's a business purchase.
I would love, to dive deep with me in that because I'm like, shoot, but that's why I hired someone.
Good. Hey, that's good. Yeah. So did you hire like an accounting firm for that? Or?
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many advantages to being a business owner.
Yeah.
It's just wild.
Yeah. No, I'm excited, and it's even though I wish I could have done it with Cindy forever, it's I like that it's just pushing my young self because I still consider myself young.
Hell yeah.
34 for owning a business, so it just kind of pushes you to. I became a way more diverse person, way better person. Got to figure shit out. So
that's the thing. It's on you. Yep, you know what I mean? Yep. So what is your plan with your baby? Like, what do you anticipate? How do you anticipate handling that as a business owner? Because I think that's a great conversation for people, and I think it's awesome that even that you just said, I get to decide how I'm going to handle that. But I'm curious, do you have a plan in place for what that's going to look like for you?
A little bit. I love working. I really do. I like with Brighton, I went back to, I was teaching at the time. And
how old's Brighton? She's 8.
Yeah. I went back to teaching I really only took that 6 weeks. I even think I was 5. Like I went, I don't know, somewhere in there that I went back and taught a day a week, and I loved that. And then I did take a long break when we moved back to St. George and Brendan went to recruit school. And I appreciated that. Brighton would have been like 1.5 or so. And I appreciate all that downtime with her at that time. We became a lot closer, her and I. So I do appreciate that, but I like days were long.
Yeah.
Being home and just, that's all you were doing.
Well, and then Brandon's gone too, right?
Yes.
So it's just you solo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was, I'm grateful for that time. And I think the difference this time is I won't have to be so black and white. It won't have to be I work or I don't work.
Yeah, you have way more fluidity in how.
Yeah.
And you can bring your baby to work, obviously.
Sure, yeah. So I think a day or two a week when I go back, just kind of I love that I have Amanda and Bella who can help me run it and, kind of not have to worry about that while I'm at work. I can be in the room and kind of be with my clients.
Well, and now you have Brighton too, who's going to be like 9 almost, right?
More help than I might want sometimes. Like wants to do everything. She's a little mommy for sure.
Is she super excited?
Oh my gosh, so excited.
I imagine that's going to be a big help, when Brendan is gone, to have another person who's capable of doing things for you.
Sure, or capable of doing stuff for herself.
That's true, yeah.
Like, that's huge. Like, I shout out to the moms that can, like, back to back to back. And I think there's so much value in that. But also, I'm not a big kid person. It took us a minute to, obviously, it took us almost a decade to figure out that we wanted another one.
Yeah.
And like at different times, Brendan would be like, I want one. I'd be like, what the hell? No. And I'd be like, I want one. And he'd be like, no. Like, so it took a hot minute to get
Yeah, because now you guys got that. Let's see. So it'll be like 9 years. So that's like me and my middle sister. We're 10 years apart.
Yeah. And how's your guys' relationship like?
Well, it was interesting because when they were little, obviously I was helping a bunch. And then when I was in high school, so she was 5. Mm-hmm. So I was just like gone doing my thing. But I had a good relationship with them. And then they moved. And so then they were gone for a lot of their childhood. So I didn't really have a relationship with her until she graduated high school, because then she came and lived with Megan and I and worked for me. Okay. Both my sisters have ended up working for me in different capacities. And so then when she got older, it doesn't really matter.
I know. Yeah. So me and my brother, my half brother on my mom's side, if you want a diagram, I can draw
How many siblings do you have?
I know you were going to ask that, and I have to think through it. I can go through my family tree here in a second. But yeah, me and my brother, he's actually since passed away, but we were 10 years apart. And I have pictures of him so into me, like just loved playing with me. And we did go through, when he got married and stuff like that, we went through a break. But then as an adult, he passed away about 5 years ago. So, but as before that, we were like close, way close, and loved hanging out, loved going out together and all of that. So I look forward to that with Brighton. And
what's kind of cool is my youngest sister is 13 years apart from me. And she was 13 when Liv was born. So it's literally the exact same, separation, you know, so that's kind of cool to watch. Speaking of your family, you guys went on, what's the cruise ship?
Icon of the Seas.
Yes, tell me about that, because I almost booked it with Megan. We're gonna do it, and I was like, it's like $13,000 for a family.
Yeah, my mom is like a saint from All Saints, so she got it for us for Christmas. So yeah,
what a gift!
I know, and it was so amazing, and she's so great. Like my stepdad had just passed away, and I think she just like wanted to, you know, we were going on so many trips as a family because he also had cancer and passed away from cancer.
He had a lot of death.
Tell me about it. I'm ready for like an up and up for sure. It's been a difficult couple of years for sure. But yeah, I like me and Brendan both had the same thing. We were like, a cruise, you know. Like,
that's kind of how I felt.
Like you get kind of bored.
Yeah.
Like you get, I don't know. Anyway, but like not once. Like I was not ready to get off. I was not ready for it to end. The kids.
How many days did you do?
Like a week.
A week, yeah.
So, but like just so much for the kids to do, and they were good ages where you felt okay with them running around a little bit by themselves. And we have older cousins, you know, they have older cousins and all of that. But God, it was great. It was just awesome.
Did you go to that one like beach like water park?
Yes, that was like the highlight too.
Yeah, that looks amazing.
We barely even got. I think one of the days we didn't even get off. The other place we got off and we're like, let's get back on. There's gonna not be as many lines at the slides. Like we didn't really even care to get off the ship.
No way.
But
so
the Cocoa Bay was awesome.
Cocoa Bay looks amazing.
Like the funnest water slide ever. Like so many fun
And you
things.
had that room where Brighton had like a little bunk bed area, right?
Yep.
Yeah, see, that's the room that we'd want to get.
I think it's really worth it. I think it's great. And cruises are just like safe for kids. They're like, you know, it's fun. It was great.
Did you guys go, because you had to go to, did you go to Florida?
Yes.
So did you go and do anything in Florida before or after, or just go out there, do the cruise and come back?
Yeah. Yep.
How many people did you guys take with you?
I think it was 18 of us. I know.
Holy shit.
Pretty sure. I know. We have lots of fun. And my brother who passed away, his kids came. So it's like, and my other brother who's passed away, his daughter came.
Another brother?
I know. Lots.
Is it all cancer or is it different things?
No. So let's see. Courtney Cox, who I'll just explain my family diagram here. So my mom and my dad had a son. So I have half brother on each side before they met each other. Then, you know, obviously that didn't work out. So then they met and they had me, and then they got divorced. So then my mom married Dave Cox, who has let's see, it's been like a year. Yeah. Again, time is weird, but a year since he's passed away.
That's right, because you and McCall were sisters.
We are sisters. Yeah. So we're stepsisters. So Brecken, Courtney, and McCall. So Courtney, their middle child, passed away drug overdose. This was about 10 years ago or so. And I was actually listening to your podcast with the, God, I don't remember his name now. But anyway, he was talking about Suboxone and like going out.
Oh,
and the thing.
yeah.
And I'm like, that was my brother.
That's Trevor.
I was like, that was my brother. Okay. Anyway, so that's been quite a few years ago. So he passed away. Okay. So then my mom married Dave. My dad married Cindy, who came with Bella, who's my stepsister, and they have my little sister, my half sister Mia, together. So I have a half sister.
Oh man, there is a lot of layers.
I know, so many layers. And now Mia works at the med spa, which makes me
how
happy.
cool is that?
Yeah, she just graduated high school and she's been doing guest services up front.
So. Does the gal who was friends with Allie who worked with us, does she still work with you? I can't remember her name. Blonde.
Oh, Abby.
Yeah,
she does. Yes, that's right. You're the one who said that. Yes, she does. Yep.
It's amazing in life how important relationships are, because
you just never know.
Yeah, well, and Allie had just said like, oh, Abby's looking for a job. She wants to be an esthetician, and I was like, oh.
No, she wanted to be an injector. That's right. She started out guest services, and now she assists our injector.
So she's like doing it.
Yeah, so she's going to school so she'll be an injector one day.
How long did you go to school for something like that?
You have to be an RN. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Man.
I know. Yeah. So.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah. So and then
did you have to do that?
I went to aesthetic school. So esthetician in Utah, it's 12. God, it's been so long. It's 1,200 hours to be a master esthetician. So there's basic and master.
1,200 hours. So I got to just do the math.
So I know. So it took, if you go full time, it took me about 9 months, I want to say. So
yeah. So divided by 40, if you're doing like a full work week, that's 30 weeks.
Yeah. It was in Utah's great with their schooling. I think we require some of the most hours out of any of the states, but it's a license that you.
Well, that's good, because I mean you're touching people's faces.
No, and like you can work. So in some states you can't work with lasers. As an esthetician, you have to be an RN. So under a doctor's license, you can work with lasers. So there's lots more you can do when you have a doctor's license that you're working under a medical director.
What do you think is the most common procedure that people get at your spa?
Botox is huge.
Yeah.
We do.
You know what's funny about Botox is like a friend of mine is a dentist.
I know. Yeah.
Chase Ryan.
Yeah.
He does Botox there now.
I know. They're all like chiropractors, dentists. They're all capitalizing on it.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just the funnious shit.
Yeah.
Like get your tooth filled. And
get some Botox
tighten
while
up.
you're at it. Yeah. I know. Yeah, and like just different experiences as
Yeah.
a client too. So it's just kind of what you're into, you know.
But that's the thing that's the most frequent.
I would say so, probably the very most. And then in the winter months, we do a lot of BBLs and Moxis, a lot of laser stuff
Because of like sun damage type stuff. What about like lip fillers?
We do a lot of that too.
I saw this couple when I was in Scottsdale last week at the Biltmore, and it was just like, it was, you know, you said some people can do it too much. That was them.
Yeah.
And they were like 70-ish, you know, like they were older, but you could just see it. Just
like their face looks great, but their body doesn't.
And they're just like, you know, and like the lips and like, I bet that old man had the chin work because his chin was like, pop, pop.
I love it. Yeah, I think like it's just grown so much. Like there's just so much different stuff that we're doing with fillers and med spa services in general. Like you can dissolve some filler now and then rebuild it, right? So that it's not like,
like if someone
getting like too puffy around here and
too
whatnot.
ducky.
Yeah, ducky would be a great way to put it. Yes.
Oh man,
yeah.
that's the thing is like, I guess anything is reversible, right?
Yeah. Well, shit. I don't want to say that because it's not actually.
Oh.
Like, I mean, like, you know, with lasers, you can for sure get a burn. They can really, It's
and then it would just be on your face.
Yeah, it's a big deal. You could lose pigment, like hypo. So like the white, you know, sometimes.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful. Make sure you're trusting who you're going to for.
Do you have, when you started doing that for like the first time, was that a scary thing to do?
Yeah, I burnt someone for sure. Oh, I burnt Cindy's chest actually. Yeah, and it just comes down to education and.
So does that burn like hurt? Like when you do that, is it painful? Kind of like a tattoo?
Yeah, but you don't necessarily like know because it's a little bit painful to get those services anyway. So
yeah.
I wouldn't say
that women are tough.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't necessarily say that you're like I just got burnt. Right. It can take a second to manifest.
Yeah.
And it just comes down to like education. So education with us at the med spa is huge. Like I give a percentage to this is kind of new, but I give a percentage to providers with how much they made us in the year, and I'll give you a percentage to use of our money to go get educated. Right.
Oh, that's
that's
cool.
on top of like what education we're doing.
The continued
anyway.
education you have to do.
Yeah, and what we're providing like with through reps like filler reps and things like that will come in and train them as well. But education is like so huge and there's so much to learn like that the BBL machine, like there's a million different settings you can do. Like sometimes I feel like a damn scientist, like okay.
Well, yeah, even when you're talking about it, you sounded like a scientist.
And it's like, I know clients will sometimes talk to me and I'm like, I should really just tell them that I can't focus on what they're saying because I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to try this. I'm like, all these numbers, wavelength, you know, how cold the tip is, all of that stuff.
When Botox, is Botox the name of the product going into you or is that the name of the procedure?
It's the name of the product. So that's very interesting. You even bring that up. So like tissue is Kleenex, but tissue is what it is. Kleenex is the brand. That's kind of how Botox is. So there's Botox, there's Dysport, there's Xeomin, there's even other ones.
So you are actually putting Botox in your face.
Yes.
That's the name of the thing. That's so. And when it gets
it's
Botox,
botulism is what the product is.
So everyone doing. So if I get Botox at Chase Fry's or at your med spa, am I getting the same product?
Not necessarily.
Because there's different.
Yeah. So Botox, they've just been the first ones that came out with it. So
it's like shoes.
Product.
You can have a Nike shoe or an Adidas shoe, but
it's
like
a shoe.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So Botox is
man, that's kind of
huge.
scary because then if someone has like a shitty.
You can have some people could be more allergic to one of them. I know we don't run into a lot of problems. They just have different ways of working. Like some are heavier, some.
Do you think there's some that are better than others?
Yeah, I think Botox, Dysport, Zeo, those are the three that we use, and I really like those. Xeomin is called like the Safe Tox or like the
more like organic.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Which I don't know how much I care about that, but like some will last longer in you than others, and it's just you and how you metabolize it. Our injectors will kind of go back and forth so that your body doesn't build up a tolerance. So if all you've been using is Botox for, the last 20 years and it's not working anymore, well, let's try Dysport, you'll see that those mechanisms will help.
Do you guys do, what's that shot you take so you can get skinny?
We don't. We haven't gotten
What's it called?
Ozempic.
Yeah. Do you guys do that?
No, we don't. And I would love to get into the wellness realm of like a lot of med spas. The next thing is wellness.
That's
like
what I wondered. Like where does
and weight loss and all that. And I would like to get into that. I'm so I don't want to say dumb because whatever, but kind of dumb in that realm of how to even get that going.
Okay.
So I definitely need, a provider that helps me with that and kind of takes that role of like, how do you make money on it? What's the best strategy?
Yeah, well, because then you'd have like a whole...
It's a whole different realm.
Yeah.
Like,
and like a holistic approach of like, you could do all the things.
Mm-hmm. And it matters. I mean, if you're treating your body like crap, you're going to age a lot quicker, right?
Yeah.
So if your blood work is balanced and all of that, you're obviously not going to... You're going to age a lot more gracefully, and then it will help those treatments that you're, optimize those treatments that you're doing.
It's amazing because you said you've been doing it for 15 years, and that's probably about like when the trend really started, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's why we don't have the grandma-looking people anymore, because people have been doing it. Like, they could have been doing it for 20 years.
Most people are lying. I think
most people are lying,
like lying, saying I'm not doing it, right? And I think it's.
Why do you think people lie about it?
I think it's getting better now that people aren't lying about it, but I just think it was like so frowned upon, right? So like they didn't want to like admit that they were getting Botox because Botox has this bad rap, where now I feel like it's coming to the place
they want to be like, I'm naturally this beautiful.
right. Yeah. So there's just so many more natural things you can do now. Like that BBL, light therapy is very natural. It's a very natural way to.
Yeah, you're just like kickstarting
you're not
your
putting
own body.
something into your body.
Yeah,
it's
that makes
literally
sense.
light, So we see all realms of people that how they want to go about that treatment plan. How do they feel about filler in their face?
Yeah.
You feel different than I feel, than she feels. And that's okay. And there's lots of options now.
I'll tell you, that cupping thing I do,
yeah,
it works.
I know.
It's
Blood
crazy.
Flow,
Yeah, it's like
lymph,
my face
drainage,
is just like, dang.
I love being pregnant. That's a lie. I take that back 1,000%. I don't ever want to seem like pregnancy is not my jam. Like there's some women that love it. But anyway, I miss being able to do stuff. You can still do like Diamond Glow. You can still do products. I'm super into my products right now. There's things you can do, but it changes you, pregnancy.
What about, so you don't love being pregnant, what about like the baby stage? Do you like the baby stage, or you like start talking to me?
I do. I think that I'm very excited for the second one to hopefully not be as anxious and as
like scared.
Yeah, I wasn't even scared. I was just like, it was like I wanted this baby to be a machine. You nap now, you eat now, and just to have a different approach than that.
It's funny how first-time moms can be just so. I mean, Megan was like hardcore, like military.
I remember listening to that, and I was like, holy hell, that was how I was.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like you only slept for 22 minutes instead of 30 minutes. Like it was just like they're not a freaking machine. You know? They're
it's
human.
so interesting that like just naturally that many women find themselves.
You want
doing that.
I think it's because you want your baby to be healthy.
It's coming from a good place, for sure.
Right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
Right. I'm great. I'm anxious to see if I'm not anxious when that happens. This next step.
I mean, I can definitely say for me, our second kid, everything just felt less serious.
Yeah. And you just learn that most likely
it's
everything's
going to
be
out.
okay.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah. So and I think not to be like stressed about this job that I should go back. Like I'm hoping for just that ease of. This is just life. And I just take this part of life that, might be harder and take a lot of my attention that I can't give somewhere else, but like to enjoy that. And
for sure.
Just
because realistically, that's going to be your last, most likely.
But it is our last baby.
Are you guys going to be done after this for sure?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're going to make Brennan get snipped? Or?
Yep. I'm not doing anything. It's his turn. His turn to do something to
Megan
prevent it.
came with popcorn. She was like, cut his ass.
I know. Totally. I am not. Yep. That won't be me. It won't be me doing it.
I think that's
going to have
fair.
to deal with it. Hell
so
yeah,
this is
fair.
it. Two's a good number. And you guys got a boy and a girl. That's like.
I know. It's perfect. I'm
so fun because they're just so different naturally.
I know.
And so I would hate to have not been given the luxury of being able to raise both. Because I really love it, and they're so different.
It was hard. Like Brighton obviously really wanted a girl, and she's handled it great. She's actually very excited. She tells me, my friend says that she likes her little brother better than her little sister. So that's anyway. So she's excited, but it was kind of hard for me when I heard boy. I was like, oh damn, wait, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was a little bit more different than I thought, for sure. So, but I am excited. I'm coming around to it now, and I think just boys are just not so damn dramatic.
Oh,
right?
much easier. I'll tell you. Dirtier for sure.
Like,
but
Brighton's an angel, baby, man. I got real blessed with her, but she, they're just more dramatic. That's all it is.
Oh, yeah. Olivia now at 10, she's like got the whole like,
yeah.
Like,
I know. Like, how early does this crap start?
Too early.
Totally. Yeah,
too early.
The sass is there for sure.
So does, in the fire department, does he get like maternity leave? Like,
yeah, he can, I don't know what they call it. It's not that it's maternity leave, but he's kind of saved up a lot of time to be able to like be like, okay, from this day to this day, you can't recall me. You can't, like just kind of off the map.
So how long does he get to be there for you? Do you know?
I don't. I think I don't really know, actually.
When Cash was born, I was only with Megan for 4 days before I had to leave.
Brendan, like with Brian, he is such a good dad. Such a good dad. And like, he was better at that baby stage at first. Like, I was like, what the frick?
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, he has 2 sons, too.
Oh, so he's already done it. Yeah, that's true. So it wasn't his first rodeo.
Right. But like, he was so young when he did it. But anyway, he just is more, calm and like what he's doing with the baby. Like, even now, like, I don't necessarily love holding babies. Like, I just don't.
I don't want to hold anyone's baby.
I know.
I've never had that like desire. It's like, here's my baby. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Like, I don't love kids that aren't my kids.
Yeah, I don't.
And if my kids do something, it's like, that's so cute. And if another kid does, I'm like, that kid is so annoying.
Totally. It is sad that we're like, it's totally a thing though. But yeah, he will kind of, with Brighton, not that he meant to, and I was just kind of naive in what I was doing, but he kind of took over a lot of that stuff. So like, there was a stage in the beginning where they were probably closer, right?
Yeah.
And then that's why I think when he went to recruit school and it was just me and Brighton, like
that was your chance to connect.
Totally.
That makes sense.
Totally. So but this one, I just, I want him home because I love him home, but I'm not, I would appreciate more than 4 days.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, the thing is I wasn't even helpful because I wasn't good at it. Didn't really care to do it. Like I can remember, Cash was born in July, so he's like 6 months old. Megan wanted to put up Christmas lights.
Okay.
And because I don't want to ever. Like I just don't think that's cool.
You need to pay someone to just
I already did.
Okay,
yeah. They're on our house now, just there.
Just all the time.
Yep.
Love it.
But so Megan was doing it, and so she's like, can you watch Cash, And he just screamed the whole time. So after like 20 minutes, I was like,
what do I do?
Fuck the Christmas lights. Like, get back in here. Like, I can't do anything. And I remember kind of being heartbroken because I was so excited to have a son. I was like, we're going to be best friends. He's going to love me. And he does now, but as a baby, he was like, I want my mom.
I know. And boys, that's what I hear is like boys are way closer to their mommies. Like when they're babies.
I mean, it was like, and it really shook me because I was like, I wanted it so bad.
Yeah.
And now our relationship is amazing. But in that beginning stages, I was like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
This isn't how I thought it was going to be.
That's how like Brendan was like more patient to be able to calm Brighton down if it was ever like that. So like I was like, God, I'm supposed to be the mom, which I got better at it.
When's your birthday?
May 15th.
Are you a Taurus?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Yep, I sure am.
I don't have a lot of patience. Us Tauruses.
I know. And babies are just hard, man. And Brighton was like one of the best. So I can't. I feel for people who have babies that have colic and like all these other.
Yeah. Well, so Cash was ended up being allergic to dairy, but Megan didn't know that, and so she was eating dairy, and so it would like really like stomach cramps and pain, and so it took a while for her to like process of elimination, like what is making him feel so bad.
Well, and like one thing can be wrong one day, and then like you try to like decide, like figure out why were they grumpy this day. It's like it's just a mind. Yeah.
What band being a parent's wild.
It really is wild. Like it's so, even when I was leaving to come to this podcast, I didn't even, like I had mentioned to Brighton that I was doing that, and she's so sweet. She's like, oh, I meant to give you a hug. Good luck. Like I'm like, oh, you are the greatest little human ever. You're gonna do great.
They do make everything so much better. You know, as challenging as they are, like just those little memories and those things that you do, like it makes everything
worth it.
Yeah,
for sure. Because it's hard. And like being like I'm like, hey, babies are great. It's gonna be great. Because being pregnant, I'm just like, can this be any worse?
Well,
like,
you don't have much.
Get chubby. It's just like.
How much longer do you have? 4 months?
I don't know. End of October. So
July, August. Yeah, so like 4 months.
Mm-hmm. We're getting there. It's gone by fast, I have healthy, like I'm very grateful. I don't have anything that's wrong.
Well, you look great.
Thank
I don't even think that people watching because you can't see your belly, I don't think that they'll even think that you're pregnant.
Thank you.
It's crazy how fast time does go by. Like thinking about Liv's life, it's like, man, she's like 10 now, and like it just in a blink.
Fair. I know.
You know?
I hear you. It's nuts.
I just really can't believe it.
It's sad too. Like I think I would have maybe appreciated my kids a little bit closer together, but all of a sudden they're 8, like holy cow. Okay, I guess we gotta decide.
I know, it's wild.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, and me and Brendan had been trying for a little bit, like maybe a year. And it just was not happening. And
you guys were about to like give up, right?
Yeah. We're like, we'll give it. Well, and then we did because we were going on the cruise.
That's right. That's what he said.
Yeah. So we were going on the cruise and we're like, well, we better not be like, I would be pissed if I was pregnant on that cruise.
Oh,
right?
yeah, right.
I mean, my mom had already bought the deluxe drink package. You know what I mean? Can't be letting that thing go to waste.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
But anyway, and then we did dry January. So, because we're we want like our bodies to look good, like no alcohol before. Because then we went on the cruise in February.
Okay.
But I really think the no alcohol, that makes me sound like an alcoholic, like I'm drinking all the time. But I just think alcohol wreaks havoc on your body. So.
That's what happens. That's why my sisters are so much younger than me. My mom smoked.
Oh, okay.
And so they tried to have kids, never happened. She stopped smoking, and then boom, 2 kids right after, one after another.
Yeah, I was like, we've literally changed nothing.
But not only were you not drinking, he wasn't drinking.
Right.
So
Swimmers
both of
like,
you,
I kind of know where to
they're
go
like
now.
Michael Phelps. They're not like stumbling around.
Totally. But it was, what's funny is like, even though we were trying and all that, but like taking pregnancy tests, you're still like, oh shit, what? Like, it's still just so like, wait, was I sure? Am I sure? Like, it's just funny that can still be hard. So Brighton was a complete surprise. But this one,
it was.
Oh yeah.
So when we had Cash, because Liv, we were like really trying, because it was like, okay, we're going to start a family, And then with Cash, I don't really remember if we were trying or it was more of just like, we're not trying. You know what I mean? And so like, I didn't even know Megan took the pregnancy test. I was just eating breakfast and she came out. And my friend who we lived with in Houston at the time, next door neighbors, and we had started a company together. He had told me like 2 days prior that he was having his first kid.
Oh, how fun.
And then so literally 2 days after Megan comes out, she's like, I'm pregnant. It was like, oh. And then everything, both times that Megan got pregnant, it completely changed what I thought about like my current life situation. Because when she had Liv, I was just working for a company. And I immediately felt like, oh, I got to do more. Because like now I've got this other responsibility. And so that's why we started that company and moved to Houston 6 months after she was born. And then when Cash was born, we lived in Houston, and I was like, I got to get back home.
I know. I love being close to family.
You know?
Yeah. I went to aesthetic school right out of high school. I was like, okay, get me out of St. George. I want to be done. And then I ended up meeting Brendan up there and blah, blah, blah. So I probably lived up there for like 5 years.
Did you go to Ogden, or were you just up north
I was
and
just
met
up
him?
north.
Okay.
Yeah, he stalked me on Facebook, and then the rest was history. Facebook, that's like,
that's how long ago it was.
09, yeah. But having a baby and being close to my family's like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah,
so
I knew we had to get home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, last question of the podcast: how do you define success?
I know. I knew you were going to ask this because I've been listening to your podcast. I think because I've had a lot of death in my family, I think I define success as how people would talk about you at your funeral.
Oh, fuck, that's a good answer.
Oh, thank you.
No one said that.
Because it's been, and like to know that you would have a void. I mean, this is kind of sad, but to know that you've left a void in, people's lives, right?
Yeah, that you were impactful.
And you're impactful, yeah. And just kind of the words that maybe someone would say about you, and alive too. Like I hope that there's never ill things said about me in truth. Like I get that there's always people that will say mean things, whether out of.
Well, that's a great way to say that. Nothing bad said about me in truth.
Yeah,
because you can't stop people from talking shit.
Yeah, or and there's all sorts of reasons people say mean things about you, obviously, and that's more about them than you. But yeah, I just always want to be. I think I define success as being a good person. Like having a good family and good kids. That would be how I define success. I
really like that answer. I like it too because you are an entrepreneur, but you didn't relate it to business. You made it more about life. Yeah. And I think it's easy, especially when you're younger, to think like success is so tied to a profession. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to get stuck in that.
Yeah, but that can change in a minute, No
kidding.
And I like if I had to choose one or the other, obviously I would choose my family over,
100 over anything. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Okay, so the people who are listening are in Southern Utah and they want to go to St. George Med Spa, how should they do that? How should they connect with you? Like, what's the best way that someone can go and get their laser or their chin?
Yeah, St. George Med Spa is on Bluff Street. We have, our website, stgeorgemedspa.com. We have an Instagram at St. George Med Spa, so St. George Med Spa. I would love more followers on my professional page. It's Telicia.stgeorgemedspa. I have like 2 followers, I swear. It took me so many years to start an aesthetic page. Like now it's just a thing.
I probably don't follow that because like I don't need aesthetics, so I'm gonna do it right now.
Yeah, I know. And then like my personal is Tal Shoe, but people like someone brought to my attention that they always thought it was Tal's Ho.
Okay, following.
Thank you.
244 now.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you. But yes, we would love to have you as a client. Isn't that like, I know, because like my maiden name's Schumacher, right?
Yeah.
So Schumacher. So people always called me Tal Shoe. So that has been my Instagram. And someone's like, oh, that's really funny. I thought it was Tal's Ho. I'm like, why the hell would I? But then I did like a poll on my Instagram, like who thought, like tell me which one.
Yeah.
It was surprising how many people thought Tal's Ho was.
God, that is hilarious. I never read it that way.
I know. Anyone that knew me because Schumacher, you know. But anyway, yes. So that's how you get a hold of us.
Okay, well, I'll put all those links in the show notes. So if anyone's listening, they can do that. Telicia, thank you so much for being on here and talking with me today. Absolutely loved having you here.
Appreciate it.